2, 1.
Just like 1 minute in Persian. الان در خدمت خانم آندریا هستیم و سوال‌ها رو در رابطه با NDP و جامعه ایرانی شروع می‌کنیم. First of all, thank you so much for having us in the parliament, and we appreciate you and your staff, especially Maximo for the facilitation of the interview. So.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure and honor to spend some time with you today.
Actually, let's go straight to the NDP. It looks that when you get the power, I mean that it means that the new wave of change, I guess, that has reached to the NDP, and because they elected you. And we see that you have a lot of activity in all the communities, including the Iranian Canadian community. So what do you see the new future of the NDP?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I come from a tradition of community development, community organizing, and from my own experience, before even being elected, a big part of my work was reaching out to communities and finding solutions with people, not for people, but with people. And so this is the kind of perspective I'm hoping to bring to our party provincially, is to spend much more time connecting with communities, connecting with the diverse cultural communities, connecting with the various geographical communities, all kinds of different communities, business communities, labor communities. From my perspective, you cannot be an effective leader unless you're prepared to connect with people and find out what their dreams are, what their hopes are, what their concerns are, and what some of their solutions might be.
Yeah, but in last 10 years, we see that NDP is going down. I mean that the Ontario, because losing the seat and already losing the status of the formal politician, while there are some popularity and they can have a lot of grassroots, or they have ground to improve and grow.
Sure.
What do you see?
Well, it's a good point. In fact, the party did lose party status in the legislature back in 2003 in the general election. Luckily, 6 months later, there was a by-election, and I was elected and brought party status back to the NDP. So hopefully that's a trend I can continue.
So they only double.
Yeah, they only double. No, but you know, it's a good point, and it's one that I think is why I've recommitted to doing that grassroots kind of work, because I think that we strayed away from that path. For quite some time, the history of our party had been to do that grassroots community work, to work with people in their communities, talk to them about their issues. And for some time, we seem to have swayed from that path. And I believe firmly that going back to those first principles, going back to those values that we hold as New Democrats, will help us to build and grow. I don't think that we can gain seats with a top-down approach. That's never been my approach. And so doing this building, I think, is important. And whether it leads to seats this time around, I certainly hope so, because not only do I believe the building needs to happen in our communities, but it also needs to happen within the organizational structure of our party, because that's been a problem as well. And I'm happy to share that with you. I mean, a big part of our problem has been we have let our party infrastructure, wither on the vine, and that's not a good thing. So when I took leadership of the party, not only did I recommit to chart a path that speaks to community and that does that kind of engaging and reaching out, but also I made some changes within our party staffing, if you will. Made some changes with people that are what you might call, establishment of our party leadership, and charted a course with them to really reinvigorate our party apparatus. And so I'm hoping that those things combined will help us.
Andrea, do you have any definition of the NDP? You are NDP is socialist, social democratic, or whatever that you, what do you...
Well, I mean, I think that the party has long been one that's been described as a social democratic party. That's something that I feel comfortable with. That's part of certainly a big part of my belief system and where I come from. And I think that we will see more and more as we've watched what's happened with the economy, and as we've watched our system of economic organization worldwide not really take care of all of the people. Great wealth is generated, but that great wealth is concentrated in the hands of the few. And we see more and more, not only communities within Ontario and Canada suffering from lack of resources, lack of opportunity, lack of jobs for people, but also around the world we see the same kinds of polarization for the few that have a lot and the many that have very little.
So we see that when the NDP on the city level, they are doing very well. From the city councillor, you were city councillor too in Toronto, a lot of them from David Miller, which is not right now, but most of them, the popular one, are NDP. But when it comes to the province level, then you are fading. Why?
Well, I would agree that
mostly it shows that people are mostly pro social economics like European style.
Sure. And I think that this is our challenge, and that's why I'm excited about the opportunity that the new leadership position that I've been able to take on provides, because I think that you can translate that. See, you know what happens in municipal politics? Municipal government is the very closest to the people. So the people recognize the value of having representatives that listen to them, that work with them to make positive change. That happens immediately. You're very close to people and very immediate. And I think that we can translate those values, can translate that desire for that kind of representation to the provincial level if we are bringing forward candidates that reflect that kind of perspective. And so now we're in a by-election in Toronto Centre, and I'm hopeful that we will have a very good showing for our candidate, who is a woman who has been a community activist, particularly in the healthcare sector, in homelessness and housing, for a long time. Her name is Cathy Crow.
She's nice,
and she's a wonderful, a very accomplished woman. But her accomplishments come from the fact that her work has always been motivated by dedication to the people. And that's where I think we have a lot of strength, and we need to continue to attract candidates like Cathy, but also provide them with the support that they need to become elected in ridings. Now, Toronto Centre is a Liberal stronghold. We are expecting that we're going to do very well. We're working very, very hard. Whether we can take that Liberal stronghold, I don't know. We'll see on election day. But I do know that that there couldn't be a better candidate than Cathy Crow. There couldn't be a better MPP. There couldn't be a better voice for the people than Cathy Crow in that riding.
Yeah, for sure. If we can help, please let us know on the issue. Because, see, in the absence of the NDP, so many Iranian, mostly, you know that Iranian, almost we have more than 4,000 Iranian students in York University. Many of them, I guess, the third one in UFT, and many of them are students are young Iranian gender background. And most, I don't say most, but many of them are believing in social justice. But because of the absence of the NDP, most of them are recruited by the liberals. So I know that you have started some steps to recruit them back or to fight back. So is there do you have any plan?
Well, one of the first things that I've done is try to participate in community events when invited. But you're right. I mean, the relationship has not been very
to the grassroots. I mean.
Yeah. Well, and so this is a part of what I need to ask of you and of people who are perhaps watching the program, which is I'm more than happy and willing to and actually desiring of engaging with your community. And so if there are opportunities to do that, certainly please ask me to attend. And it doesn't have to be, you know, a big community event. It doesn't have to be Nowruz. It can be anything. It can be a small conversation with a couple of leaders in the community to talk about issues of concern. It can be students, students at U of T or of York who have a student club of Iranian students who might want to have a conversation with me. I'm absolutely not only willing to, but desiring to have those conversations, because I don't believe it's just about showing up at an event and, you know, breaking bread. That's important. It's important to develop relationships on every level. But I believe it's much more, I think, important to show that respect for.
Better understanding of both sides, because
and you only get that through dialogue. I mean, you only get that through ongoing dialogue and through the building of relationships over time, not just showing up at an event having a meal and then leaving. That doesn't, from my perspective anyways, reflect a meaningful building of relationships.